This conference will now be recorded.
So guys, are you able to see the screen? Okay, thank you. Okay, so guys, in the last class, if you remember, we have been we have seen how to install the plugin manager. Okay, and then the plugin manager will help you to give that extra functionality. Okay, and then we have installed a sampler called JPGC dummy sampler. Okay, which is there as a part of the plugin sampler, plugin manager. Okay, and then we have played around and we have seen different functions, different variables as to where to use, like for example for the username, for the password, for the URL. We have seen different places where we can use the variables. Okay, so that's what we have done yesterday, guys. So let's get started today. So far we've worked with different controllers. We have seen switch controller, we have seen interleave controller, we have seen random controller, random order controller, simple controller, transaction controller. We have seen quite a bit of them, guys. So the last controller, okay, in that order, and we have seen loop controller as well. Okay, so and the last one we wanted to discuss in this controllers is if controller. Okay, and then we will jump into something called timers, guys. So once this is done, okay, so if controller, works like your basic if statement. Okay, if, okay, if the statement is true, whatever the statement, okay, okay, is true, okay, then it will go ahead and execute the loop. Okay, then it will go ahead and statement. Okay, then it will go ahead the loop, whatever is there in the loop. Okay, if whatever the statement that is there, okay, if it is true. Man, the crowd is way less. I thought people will join as the class progresses. Okay, so looks like the crowd is very less. I'm very disappointed. Okay, maybe I think it's a Christmas time. Okay, we have to respect that. Okay, so so if whatever the statement, whatever the statement that you put, if it is true, it will go ahead and execute, else it will not execute that particular loop. That's how the if statement works. Okay, so okay, so let me go ahead and take an example and then we will see how it works. Okay, so let me open my Jmeter. Okay, and we have been using the script called random. Okay, and we have two scripts here. If you pay attention, we have registration script and we have purchase order script. Okay, let me remove unwanted elements so that it will be less confusing. I'll also remove this one. Later on, if I want, I can add it. Okay, so I have only two scripts. One is purchase or product scripts and registration scripts in this test plan. Okay, and you can see the purchase script. Okay, then okay, so let me build an if controller. Okay, so let me build an if controller here in the switch controller. Let me add a controller called if controller. Okay, so where is the controller? Okay, if controller. So ignore this if controller, guys. Okay, so let me disable that one. I was just playing around. Okay, so if a particular condition is satisfied, then I wanted to execute the purchase fish. Else I wanted to execute the dog and cat. Okay, so let's assume that there is a condition. I'm giving a condition. Okay, so if that condition fulfills, then it should execute the purchase the fish, else it will execute the other ones. So let me add this purchase the fish simple controller into this if controller. Okay, now what am I saying? If the condition, okay, so I wouldn't want a switch here. Okay, so hang on, guys, hang on. Let me do one thing instead of doing this. Okay, let me do a simple thing. So let me replace the switch controller with an if controller. Okay, now if certain condition is fulfilled, then I wanted to execute this controllers, maybe purchase dog or cat or fish, whatever it is, All this needs to be purchased only if the condition is fulfilled. Let's assume that's what it is. Okay. Okay, so I have a login here, and then if a condition is fulfilled, then these three needs to be purchased and logged out. Or if the condition is not fulfilled, then you're not purchasing any of it. Okay, then you're not purchasing any of it. So let's say that's what it is. Okay, so watch carefully here, and I don't want it to execute this one as well, guys. So I'll just disable this. Okay, this script I wanted to execute only a purchase product script, and here if a certain condition is fulfilled, then I'll go ahead and purchase all these products, else I won't purchase this. Okay, so just to create a situation, okay, what I'll do is, okay, I'll say some variable, okay, some variable, okay, is equal to, okay, let's say some variable called count. Okay, if the value is equal to 10, okay, some variable, if the value is equal to 10, then this has to be purchased. So I'll create the variable over here in the user defined variables. Okay, there are a bunch of variables. Okay, so let me delete certain variables here to make this clear. Okay, okay. So these are the three variables that we have created in the last class, guys. URL, okay, that is the URL, and username, which is the actual username, and the password. So let me add one more variable. Instead of, if you don't want it to add to these elements, because these are applicable to the whole script. I mean, for global variable sort of thing, which will be applicable to all the scripts. So I don't want it to create certain variables over here. So what I can do is I can create one more element called user defined variables. Okay, so it should be in the config elements, and then user defined variables. Do you see something called user defined? Yes. Okay, so, and then here, okay, let me add a variable called count. Okay, let me add a variable called count and give a value, let's say 50. Okay, let's give a 50. Okay, so now here you say that if count is equal to 15, okay, count is equal to 15. Since this is an if loop, you need not have to specifically again say if. Okay, since this is an if controller, you need not have to specifically say if again. So just say count is equal to 15. Count is equal to 15. Then you go ahead and execute these controllers or these blocks, okay, which is dog, fish, and cat. Else you execute the logout part. Okay, so whatever you have given here, okay, will it work, guys? Will it work, or do I need to make any changes to this? Do I need to make any changes to this? I want to hear from all of you. Okay, I wanted to say that if the count is equal to 15, then it should execute this block. So is this good, or and count is a variable, guys. Count is a Jmeter variable. Okay, and where did I define count? Over here in the user defined variables, I have given count is equal to 15. Okay, so will this work? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so now count is a variable. If I wanted to use it, it should be in what? It should be in what? Flower braces. Okay, flower braces is not good enough. You should have a dollar. Okay, I made this change. So will this work, guys? Will this work? Now tell me. Just say yes or no. Okay, what do you think? Okay, will this work? Okay, yes, so says yes. All of you guys, I want all the 12 students in the class to be attentive and answer. Okay, I'm not asking a single person here. Okay, now tell me in your load runner, what is this single is equal to and what is this double equal to? Where do we use single is equal to? Where do we use single is equal to, guys? Quickly, where do we use single is equal to? You can unmute yourself. I have my speakers up. You can unmute yourself if you want. So guys, we have done a lot of programming in LoadRunner. Okay, at least this is the basic thing that I expect you. Either you're not listening. Wonderful of this, sir. Single is equal to is to assign some values. Okay, assign some values. For example, I have a variable called I value and I wanted to assign certain value, assign 10 to it, then you use single is equal to. Okay, I have to assign, let's say there is a variable called I value and I have to assign 10 values, you have to use single is equal to. Where do we use double equal to? double equal to is for the comparison. Okay, so double equal to is for the comparison. Okay, so I have, let's say I wanted to compare if I value is equal to, okay, f value, then I will use double equal to, so that it will compare the values in this one and this one. Double equal to is for the comparison, single equal to is for the assigning. This is across any programming language. This is how it will be used, guys. Okay, not text comparison. Okay, it's a integer comparison. Okay, or any comparison, to be honest with you. Okay, depending on the programming language as to what the comparison could be for. Okay, single is equal to is to assign the values, double equal to is for comparing two values. Okay, so here we are assigning or comparing. Okay, assigning 1, comparing 2. What are we doing? 1 or 2? Are we assigning or are we comparing? 1 or 2? 1 is for assigning, 2 is for comparison. What do we do? What are we doing here? We are comparing. So obviously it has to be double equal to. Okay, so if count, I need not have to say again if specifically here, I need not have to do that. Okay, I need not have to do that because we are already in the if controller. So there is no point again putting an if, you need not have to give Jmeter two times the instruction that this is an if loop. So I need not have to do that. Okay, so if count is equal to 15, then it has to go ahead and execute the. Okay, so I wanted to see the value in the count, guys, as it is getting executed. I know I'm assigning the value 15 to the count, but as the script is getting executed, I wanted to see what is the value that is getting stored in the count. So how can I see it during the execution? What do I need to add so that I can see the value in the count? What do I need to add to my thread group, so that I can see the value which is there in the count? Quickly, what do I do? What do I add? Okay, Hago says listener. Which listener? I wanted to see exactly the value which is stored in the count. So what is that element that I need to add so that I can see the value in this? Okay, so it is VRT. V stands for what? VRT. Of this view results tree. So if I can see view results tree, if I add this sampler called view results tree, okay, will I be able to see the value which is there in the count? Okay, if that is so, I'll go ahead and execute. Just watch it. Okay. Okay. So I'm running it for multiple iterations. So let's see how many iterations. Okay, I'm running it for infinite time. So let me stop it. Okay. Okay, as you can see here in the view results tree. Now tell me, okay, where can I see the value of count here? Anywhere? Okay, for launch I can see the request and the response and then the overall sample results, but I'll not be able to see the value for count anywhere. I wanted to see exactly what is the value that is stored in the count, what is the value that is stored in the URL, username and password. If I need to see the values as to what they are, what is that element that I want? If you see, okay, I'm not able to see anywhere. So guys, yesterday's class, if you have heard, you would have answered this question. So there seems to be only 1 or 2 students who are giving the answer. We need to add the debug sampler, guys. We need to add the debug sampler so that already it's added, but I don't wanted to use that. I wanted to hear from you. You have to add the debug sampler, and once you add the debug sampler, automatically in the view results tree, you will be able to see the values in the debug sampler. Or you don't want it to see it in the view results tree, you could actually add the view results tree into this. Okay, view results tree into the debug sampler. This is not mandatory, but adding the debug sampler is mandatory. So are we clear, guys? How can we see the values which are stored in the variables? You have to add the debug sampler, guys. Okay, and one more thing here, okay, in the if controller there are 2 options. One is interpret condition as a variable expression, or you don't interpret it. So here you wanted to compare what is there on the left hand side with the right hand side, then you don't do an interpret condition as a variable expression. Okay, so later on I will tell you what is this option, but for now you are not interpreting this condition, whatever this condition that you are giving, you are not interpreting as a variable expression. Okay, so you uncheck this. Once you uncheck this, then it will compare whatever is there in the left hand side with the right hand side. Once you click on this and once you interpret as a variable expression, I'll tell you later as to what it will happen. But for now, you uncheck it, which means that now the if condition will compare whatever is there in the left hand side with the right hand side. Okay, and I wanted to see the value of the count. What do? I'll add the debug sampler. Okay, and adding the view results tree under the debug sampler is not mandatory. Okay, so as I've told you in the yesterday's class, it will help you to look at all the variables at one place if you add the debug sampler. Sorry, if you add the view results tree in the debug sampler. Okay, now you see, let me go ahead and run it. I'm running only once. Now what did it do? It has launched, okay, whatever is there in this particular sampler, it has executed in this controller, it has executed all of them. Okay, it did the launch, click and login. And once this is done, okay, once the login part is done, if the if condition is successful, it is supposed to execute this one. So since the if condition is successful, it started purchasing the fish, then it has started purchasing the dog, then it has started purchasing the cat, then it has started purchasing the fish. It has done all of it, guys. It has done all of it, and then finally it has logged out. So it is executing multiple iterations. As to why it is executing, because it is infinite. Okay, so I'll stop it. Okay, uncheck it, save it. Okay, so as you can see here, now since the if condition is satisfied, it went into the loop, it went into the if loop and started executing all of it. Okay, let me execute once more. Okay, since the if condition is satisfied over here, okay, it started executing what's there inside it, which is purchase dog, okay, purchase a cat and purchase a fish, and finally, why is it, guys, why is it not unchecking? Okay, only after I stop it, then make the changes and then start. Oh, I have to give a loop count, otherwise it will not save. Okay, now I know what it is. Okay, so I have to give some sort of loop count, otherwise it will assume infinite. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so let me go ahead and run it now. Okay, let me check if it's not infinite. Okay, no, it's not infinite. So since the if condition is satisfied, after logging, it went into purchase dog, it purchased the cat, purchased the fish, and simply it has logged out. And since we add the debug sampler has shown up here. Okay, we can go to the response data to exactly see. Okay, we can go to the response data to exactly see what is the value which is there in the count. You see, count is equal to 15. So count the value it is taking as 15. So this 15 is equal to 15. So that's the reason why it is going ahead and executing all of it. Since it will be difficult to search for the debug sampler in all these samplers and then go ahead and look at it. So that is the reason why you add the view results tree into the debug sampler, so that here it displays only the debug sampler, nothing else, and it is easy for us to look at as to what is the values for each iteration. That is the only reason why you add the view results tree under the debug sampler, so that all the debug samplers will be at one place. Without this also, it is possible just by looking at, searching for the debug sampler in this big list. You can search for the debug sampler. Okay, you can search for the debug sampler. Okay, so otherwise you can add the view results tree into the debug sampler, so that all the only debug samplers will be displayed in this view results tree. But if you're going ahead and looking at in this view results tree, all the complete log for all the samplers will be displayed. Along with that, the debug sampler will also be displayed. Okay, that's what it is. Are we clear, folks? Are we clear with this one? Did you see that how the if controller is working? Yeah. Okay. Now one more thing, guys. Before I proceed further, before I proceed for any further, so how do we go about during this Christmas season, guys? Last class also there was very less crowd. Out of 25, I think 13 or 14 attended last class. Today also 13 or 14 students. So how do we go about the Christmas season? Like, should we take a break for a couple of days until the Christmas is done, or should we continue, or what is it? Okay, if you want me to continue, just say yes. If you want me to take a break, just say no. Okay, based on that, we'll decide how long the break should be as well. Okay, so okay, I want to hear from all of you guys. There's 13 students who are attending the classes. How do we want to go about? Okay, so almost everybody says no, so we need to take a break. Okay, so now that everybody says no, we don't want to continue. Okay, so we need a Christmas break. I do agree with you. So how long we should take a break? Can one of you please unmute and let me know? Okay, in US, like how long the celebrations, when the celebrations will start and when the celebrations will end. So based on that, I'll give you a break, or at least give me the dates. In US, like, how long you want the break? You want it from tomorrow, or you need an additional break? Let me know, guys. How do we go about? I am ready, guys. To be honest, I don't celebrate Christmas, so I'm ready every day. Even on the Christmas day, I'm ready to take the class. So again, you have to drive, okay? So you have to drive as to when it should start and when we should stop the class. And okay, so Abdisa says from 23rd to 27th. Okay, so if you're living in US, 23rd is tomorrow, 27th is Friday. Okay, so he's asking for the whole week. Okay, okay. Okay, from tomorrow to Wednesday and resume on 27th. Okay, resume on 27th, which will be okay. So which will be so if I resume on 27th, so I have to. I mean, for US guys, okay. So you want me to resume on Thursday for you or Friday for you guys? From Thursday. So if you want me to start from Thursday for you, then it will be I have to start from Friday for me. Okay. So so guys, we okay. So you want like what? 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th is what you need the break. Okay. So the next class will be on 26th night. Will that work for you? 26th. I mean Thursday night. Will that work for you guys? Thursday night. Thursday is the Christmas day, guys, or Thursday is okay for you? Or you want it from Friday night? Friday night. Okay. Okay, guys. So there is a break and you want me to start from Friday night for you guys, right? Friday night for you. Okay. So it should be Saturday morning for me then. Okay. So today we will wrap up today's class little early because the crowd is very less. I'm disappointed. I thought everybody will join. Okay. So we will be only working on the if controller. Okay. And so give a little bit of intro on the timers if possible. Okay. So there is very important topics to come, guys. So I want everybody to attend that. I don't want anybody to miss those classes. So the next class will be Saturday night for you, Saturday morning for Indian students, and Friday night for US students. That's how we will do it. Okay. So let me write it down. Okay. Okay. Next class is Friday night for US and Saturday morning for India. Okay, so let's plan for that because everybody is going for a long weekend and all that. Okay, so this is how we will plan. Yeah, this should be fine, right? All of you, do you agree with this one, guys? All of you, whoever is celebrating and not celebrating. Okay, will this work? Okay, so there is a unanimous yes for all for this one. Okay. Okay, guys. Okay, so yeah. So now we have seen the if controller on some integers. Okay, what if there is any text, Kumar? Will this work? Okay, so we will see that as well. So there is some text called, okay, there is some text called name is performance testing. Okay, so let's say there is a variable called name, okay, or there is a variable called course, okay, and the name of the course is performance testing. So you wanted to execute this loop, okay, only, okay, let me give some meaningful name, okay, uh, have money, okay, let's say yes, okay. So do you have money, kind of, okay, there is a variable called have money, and yes, then you can go ahead and purchase, else it should not purchase. Let's say there is a variable called have money and the value inside that is yes, okay. So then okay, only if the have money is yes, then it should go ahead and purchase, else it should not purchase. Let's see, we have seen that it will work for integers. Let's see if it will work for strings as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, if have money, okay, is yes. Okay, so now dollar have money is equal to yes. Okay, if it is yes, then it will go ahead and purchase all the three, else it should not purchase all the three. Okay, so let's see it, guys. What do you think? Will it work, guys? Yes or no? What do you think? It will work? Yes or no? Okay, Hagos, looks like you have already seen my videos. Okay, what do you think? Okay, Y or N? Do you think it will work? Hagos says no. Scott says no. Okay, okay, Sam says no, it will not work. Okay, so since this is a string, it should be in the double quotes, guys. It should be in the double quotes. Now, this if condition or this condition, this statement is having some sense. Okay, so now it should work. Now it should work. Okay, so let me go ahead and give it a shot to see if it will actually work. Okay, so you know that the value inside have money is yes. So you know that this statement is true. Since this statement is true, it is supposed to execute this. If it is executing, then my if statement is correct. Else my if statement is wrong. Okay, so let me go ahead and look at the view results tree. Okay, so you see my launch has executed, login has executed, nothing in this if statement is executed. Had the if statement is got executed, okay, I would have purchased a dog, fish and cat, but nothing I have purchased. So there's something more needs to be done. So this double quotes that you have done is good enough, but it's not working yet. Something else needs to be done. So typically this has to be in the double quotes as well. This has to be in the double quotes as well. Okay, so why? That's the syntax. Now let me see if it works. Okay, let me see if it works. Yeah, you see, now you see after logging in, it has purchased a dog, then it has purchased a cat, then it has purchased a fish and logged out. Okay, so usually when you're dealing with the strings, okay, the variable should be in the double quotes and also the value should be in the double quotes, or whatever the value which is there on the left hand side, it should be in the double quotes. On the right hand side, it should be in the double quotes, because this is the string. Okay, if you want to compare string with a string, is equal to will work. Okay, in Jmeter you need not have to use the sprintf or something like that. Okay, so strcmp or something like that. Here is equal to will work, but left hand side double quotes, right hand side double quotes, it will work. Are we clear, guys? Are we clear, all of you? Okay, now I wanted to say if have money is equal to yes, and okay, and count is equal to 15. Okay, both these statements should be passed. Okay, have money is yes and count is 15, and count is 15, only then whatever is there in the if controller should run. Okay, it should satisfy both the conditions. One is have money is yes and the count is equal to 15. Both these statements should be valid or should be passed, okay, or should be true, so that this if condition should be executed. Then we can do this as well. Okay, will this work, guys? Will this work? There are more than one mistake. Let's figure out those mistakes. So what is the first mistake? What is the first mistake, guys?
Dollar sign and bracket, loud bracket.
Wonderful. You know, if you're lazy to type it, you can unmute yourself and speak as well because it's difficult to type everything. Okay. And what is the second mistake? What would be the second mistake?
This
Okay.
one and
Yeah. Wonderful, Diva. Okay. This and it will not understand. My Jmeter will not understand A and D and. Okay. So what does it understand? Okay. If you wanted to put and, you have to put this one. Okay. So do you think one of this symbol is good enough? Okay. Is that works? Will that work? No. So usually and means you have to use this 2 times. You have to use this 2 times. Okay. Now what if count is 15 and have money is yes, only then it will go ahead and execute this. Okay. So let me now whatever is there in the if loop, it should execute. It is executing. You see, it has purchased the dog, cat, and fish. So which means that this condition is true. So you can use these conditions like this as well, guys. Like this as well. Okay. So this is how the if loop actually works. Okay. Watch here carefully. But okay, you see, what does it Jmeter folks are suggesting? For performance of Jmeter, not for the application. You cannot control the performance of the application, guys. Performance of the application will be as it is. Okay, all you have to do is check the performance of the application. You cannot, by doing the performance testing, you cannot improve the performance of the application or decrease the performance of the application. Whatever the performance of the application, you will be able to identify and give it to your developers. Only if the bottlenecks are identified and bottlenecks are removed, only then the performance of the application will be improved. Here, the performance that we are talking about is the performance of the Jmeter. Okay, so for the performance of the Jmeter, it is advised to check interpret condition as a variable expression. So if you want this if loop to be worked very fastly, or the performance of the if loop should be good, it should not take too much of the Jmeter resources, or it should not take Jmeter, it should not overburden the Jmeter. Okay, the if loop should use what? Interpret the condition as the variable. So you have to use the interpret the condition as the variable. Okay, only then the Jmeter will utilize minimum resources to execute this if loop. Otherwise, Jmeter will use good amount of resources to execute this. That's not what we want. So in other words, to improve the performance of this script, okay, the performance of the if loop should be good as well. If the performance of the if loop should be good, then interpret the condition as a variable expression should be checked. Okay, so if I use this interpret, okay, if I use this interpret the condition as a variable expression, okay, so whatever you have designed, will this work or not, we will check. Okay, will this work or not, we will check. So you see, if loop is not getting executed, so this condition is not being interpreted correctly. Okay, so we need to make some changes to this particular condition. If you say interpret the condition as a variable expression. Okay, now without actually what is happening internally, let's see. Okay, without this, okay, without this condition, interpret the condition as variable expression. Without the condition, what it is doing, what my Jmeter is doing, it is comparing whatever is there in the left hand side, it is comparing with whatever is there in the right hand side. So it is comparing have money with yes. Okay, so let's remove this thing so that to avoid the confusion. So whatever is there in the left hand side, it is comparing with the right hand side without this condition. Okay, without the interpret the condition, without the interpret condition. Okay, interpret, okay, condition as variable expression. Okay, without this, okay, without this, what is my Jmeter is doing? It is comparing whatever is there in the left hand side with the right hand side. But once you enable it, okay, once you enable it, okay, with this one, okay, so what will happen is it will take this whole expression, and then it will see if the output is true or false. Okay, output is true or false. It is looking at the output. It is looking at the output of this one. if left hand side is equal to right hand side, the output will be true. If the left hand side is not equal to right hand side, the output will be false. Okay, so without this interpret condition as a variable expression, what it is doing, it is simply comparing whatever is there in the left hand side with the right hand side. Okay, so whatever is there in the left hand side, it is comparing with the right hand side. Okay, so that is what is happening if you use without the interpret condition as variable expression. But with this interpret condition as a variable expression, it will evaluate the whole expression, and output it will be either true or false. Output it will be true or false. If this is equal to this, it will be true. If this is not equal to this is false. But if you want to if you want this whole expression to be evaluated, and then and then you give the output, just this will not be enough. Just this will not be enough. So you have to add. You have to either use JEXL3 or Groovy to evaluate this expression and give you an output as a true or false. If you want to evaluate this expression and you have to give this output as a true or false, this is not good enough. We have to add Groovy to it. We have to either have a Groovy or JEXL3 to it, so that it will look at the output of it. It will look at the output of this, and see if it is true or false. So how do I add this? How do I put this into a Groovy or a JEXL3? It is pretty simple, guys. Go to the functional helper. If you want to use Groovy, just go ahead and search for Groovy, ABCDEFGHIJKL. Groovy, and put your expression here. Put your expression here, and then generate the copy. Generate and copy. Generate and copy. Make sure there is no spaces. So so generate and copy. Is there an issue here, guys? So now you copy that over here. You see, the expression is as it is, guys. The expression is as it is. The expression is as it is. They just added underscore Groovy to it with the dollar symbol. They just added underscore Groovy to it and with the dollar symbol. You can delete this extra comma if you don't want. You can delete that extra comma if you don't want. Now you see, this is interpret the condition. Interpret the condition as a variable expression. Now it will do what it will do. It will evaluate this whole expression, and the output will be true or false. The output, if it is equal to true, then it will execute whatever is there in the loop. If the output is false, it will skip whatever is in the loop, and it will go ahead and execute the lockout part. It will go ahead and execute the lockout part. So let's look at with our own eyes. Now we know that this expression is true. So it should go ahead and execute what's there in the if loop. Now you see, it has executed what's there in the if loop. So which means that this expression, whatever you build, is correct. So have you understood this expression, guys, all of you? Have you understood how the Jmeter is evaluating this? And have you understood whatever we have put inside this? And why we are adding Groovy to it? Because if you interpret the condition as a variable expression, the whole condition as a variable expression, so you want this to give an output, whether it's a true or a false. If you want this expression to give an output as a true or false, it needs to be added, it needs to be used with a Groovy or JEXL3. I have used this condition with the Groovy. Now that I have used this condition with the Groovy, it will evaluate this whole expression, and the output will be either true or false. If it is true, it will go ahead and execute this. Else, if it is false, it will not execute this. Have you understood this part, guys, all of you? Have you understood this part, all of you? Maybe everybody is there in the Christmas celebrations. I know it is little difficult to understand this. There are only 3 S's, only 3 people seems to understood it. So what about others? Divakar is there, Abdisa is there, Athina, Dejanu, Gautam, Namrata, Sam, Raghu, Shabora, Scott. So what about you guys? Have you understood it? So Sam, you have been on and off. Shabora, you have joined late. I do understand you have to hear from the start to understand this better. So simple, forget about everything. If you are using the check mark, whatever the expression it is, you have to either use it with the Groovy or EXL3. If you are not using the check mark, directly use the expression. But if you're not checking it and you're directly using, the performance of the Jmeter will be little down, guys. Okay, but if you're not executing with lot of users, then you don't worry about using with Groovy or EXL3. But you are executing the script with whole number of users, then make sure your if condition you either use it with a Groovy or EXL3. Simply whatever the condition that you have, guys. Okay, just go to the functional helper, search Groovy over here. Okay, search Groovy over here, put that expression here, just say generate and copy, and then copy this expression and put it over here. Put it over here, and that's what you have to do. That's it. Okay, to improve the Jmeter performance, put check this one. I'm trying to give you the internal meaning of it as to how this Groovy is working. Okay, so only if not Groovy, you can use the JEXL3 as well. It is an in-house, JEXL3 is the Jmeter's in-house library. Okay, so JEXL3, put your expression over here, generate and copy. Okay, and you can use the JEXL3 as well. Okay, if you want. Okay, and if JEXL3 is working or not, you can check by running this one. Okay, you see, oh, it is not going into it, so something wrong with the inflow. Oh, okay, so hang on. Only the expression you have to give. Okay, have money is equal to yes, generate and copy. Okay, okay, so you see JEXL3, and if you want, you can take away this comma. Okay, now go ahead and execute it. Now the if loop should be executed. No, why not? Is there something wrong, guys? Have money. Oh, there is a double quotes which is missing here. Okay, double quotes, and in the double quotes, this should be okay. In the flower braces, this looks good now. Okay, so it should work now. There's something wrong here. Can somebody see an issue somewhere, guys? Okay, so let's say, okay, so let me build it from the scratch, guys. So I'm have money, okay, is equal to YES with a capital Y with a capital Y, okay. So this should be in the double quotes, this should be in the double quotes, and having said this is a variable, this should be the variable with the dollar symbol, okay, and then this should be in the double quotes as well. Okay, so this is your expression. Now you want to interpret as a condition, so you have to use it with JEXL3 or a Groovy. Okay, so let me try with JEXL3. We are building. Okay, generate and copy, and then paste it here. Okay, now I haven't touched any of it, so JEXL3 for some reason it's not working, which is so weird. Okay, so interpret the condition as a variable expression. I've done whatever supposed to be done. Okay, but still it's not working. Okay, so what I will do is I'll store the output. Okay, so what I do is, okay, I'll store that output into another variable called result. Let's see what is the result. Okay, so I'll store the output into the result. Okay, and let's see, or let me build it from here itself. Just give me one moment, guys. Let me figure out as to what is the issue here. Okay, and the variable name, finally I'll try to store the output result into a variable called result. Okay, okay, so now let's look at the value of the result as well in the debug sampler. Okay, so have count is equal to 15, have money is equal to yes. Result, it is empty here. Okay.
Maybe
Something.
double equal sign, Kumar.
Sorry.
Double equal sign.
Oh, okay. I got. I'm messing it up, guys. So hang on. So maybe I don't have enough sleep, so I'm messing it up. 1 second, guys. Okay, 1 second. Okay, have money is equal to yes, and the result. So this is this correct, guys? Is this correct, all of you? JEXL3 have money is equal to so, and the output it will be stored into the result. Is this good or any changes needs to be done, guys? What do you think, all of you? Count is equal to 5, have money, Jmeter thread, true. So is this guy, is there, do you see any issue here, guys? Anything that you think that
Equal sign, Kumar.
yeah, double equal to, right? Okay, yeah, I think that's good. Okay, that's a good catch. Anything else? Am I doing mistake here? Is there anything else? There is an issue here. Okay, fine. Now you got it. You see, I'm missing that double equal to. Thank you. Okay, so now you see, you can use the JEXL3 and it will evaluate the entire expression, and whatever it is true or false, it will store it in the variable called result. So that result you can look it up here if you want, or you can go to the debug sampler. Okay, and you can see the value of the result. It should be true. Jmeter variable count have money result. You see, result is equal to true. That's what it is. The result variable is coming from here, guys. Okay, whatever is the output of this, whether it is true or false, it will be stored in the result. If it is true, it will go ahead and execute this particular part. To see the result is equal to true, I've just shown you. You see, the result count have money, and then the result is equal to true. Result is equal to true. If it is true, then it will go ahead and execute whatever is there inside this. So it will evaluate the whole expression, and then if it is true, it will go ahead and execute it. Jmeter recommends to use either underscore groovy or JEXL3, okay, so that so that you know the performance of the Jmeter will be good. Okay, the performance of the Jmeter will be good. Oh, thank you. A lot of people were seeing double equal to. I was not even looking at it. Okay, thank you, guys. Wonderful. Okay, you're giving me the suggestions, which means that you're understanding, which is wonderful. Okay, great, guys, great. Okay, so okay, now, okay, last we will wrap up this Jmeter class. I mean this if loop controller, and we will wrap up the class, guys. I don't want to start the timer because there will be a huge Christmas break, as we have discussed. Okay, so one more thing is, if you're looking at this debug sampler, okay, these are all the Jmeter variables. You see, count is equal to 15. Who have created this variable called count? We have created the variable called count, and that's why it is showing up here. And have money is equal to yes. Okay, that is what we have created. But internally, Jmeter itself will create some variables. Okay, like you see, Jmeter thread dot last sample. Okay, it is equal to true. So it will check what was the result of the last sampler. The last sampler over here is logout. Okay, the logout. The last sampler here is the logout. This is the sampler. Whether it has executed correctly or not, my Jmeter will check that. And you see, and it will store into a variable called Jmeter thread dot last sample underscore sample is equal to. Okay, it will store that into this variable called Jmeter dot last sample underscore last underscore sample underscore okay. If it is equal to true, which means that whatever the last sample that was executed, it was okay. There was no issues with it. If it is equal to false, then there is some issues with it. You see, and also it talks about some sample packages. It has the variables. Password, you have created the variable. Random config, you have created the variable. Result, you have created the variable. And also it will create its own variables called start.hms. At what time you have started, at what time you have ended. So all this it will start. Okay, so it will create its own variables and store certain information inside it. and you see you haven't created this variable, so it has created its own variable and stored certain information. Okay, so so like this, Jmeter will create a variable that we wanted, and by itself it will create some variables. So out of this all this variable, there is one important variable which is very important that we can use is Jmeter thread. Okay, this particular variable. Okay, this particular variable. Okay, if the last whatever the last sampler is executed, okay, if it is executed well, the output of this will be true, else the output will be false. Okay, else the output will be false. To demonstrate that, okay, to demonstrate that, what I will do is, okay, so this is my last sampler, which is login 18, and if this is executed fine, okay, if this is executed fine, okay, then my Jmeter, okay, my Jmeter thread.last sample is equal to okay will be true, it will be okay will be true, else it will be false. Okay, so you see I'll enable this one, okay, or I'll enable this one. Okay, so you see what I am checking here, if my last sample is working fine, whatever the reason you wanted to say, you wanted to execute only if loop only if the last sampler is working fine, okay, or we can use this existing this thing as well, existing if controller. We need not have to create a new if controller, guys. Okay, let me disable this and move it at the bottom. Okay, you see if my login has worked fine, only then this if controller should work. Okay, so enable this. Okay, my login has happened properly, only if the login has happened properly, then it should then it should go ahead and purchase it, else it should not purchase it. Let's assume that's what is the condition. What is the condition? If my login has happened properly or login has worked properly, then only I should execute the if loop, else it should not execute the if loop. So you see, if the login has happened properly, then the Jmeter thread, okay, the Jmeter thread dot last underscore sample, okay, which is the default variable, this will be true, okay, else this will be false, okay. If my what is that I wanted to do, if the last sampler has worked fine, only then it should execute the if controller, only then it should execute, else it should simply go ahead and log out. That is what is my agenda. Okay, my login has happened properly, then only it should purchase, else it should log out. Okay, so that is what I'm thinking. Okay, how can I check if my login has happened properly or not? Whatever is there, it will be stored. If the login has happened properly, then this Jmeter thread.last sample. Okay, for this if controller, what is the last sample? Login 18. Okay, for this if controller, what is the last sample, guys? Login 18. And so last Jmeter thread dot last sample, okay, will store, if I put it in the if controller, it will store the value of, it will store the success of this particular login 18. If this login 18 has successfully executed, then the output of this will be true, else the output of this is false. Okay, are we okay, guys? Are we okay? For this if controller, what is the last sampler? 18. If it is executed properly, then whatever is there in the output of this will be true, else it will be false. So what you are saying, okay, so if you say interpret condition as the variable expression, it will take the value of it, and if it is true, it will automatically go ahead and execute this, else it will execute false. Okay, so you see now if this is executed properly, then the output of this will be true. Okay, then this will be true, and you are evaluating this in the if controller. If this is true, then it will go ahead and execute it, else it will not execute. Okay, so if this is not executed properly, then what will be stored inside this? False will be stored inside this, and you are evaluating it. If it is false, so simply it will not execute, it will go out of this. Okay, it will not execute. Are we clear, guys? Are we clear, all of you? All I am saying is, okay, if this is executed, if it is executed properly, automatically this will be true, this will be stored, whatever it will be stored in this variable will be true. If this is true, then it will go ahead and execute this. If this is not executed properly, then what will be stored here? False will be stored here, then it will not execute this. Are we clear, guys, all of you? Are we clear? Are we clear, all of you? Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, now let me see if this whatever is there inside this if loop will be executed or not. Okay, you see it is executing, which means that okay, my login has happened properly. That is the reason why this variable is being stored true. Have I created this variable? No. By default, Jmeter will create some variables by default and store certain values. Okay, so one such variable which Jmeter creates is Jmeter thread.last_sample. Okay, and it will store the success of the last sampler. If the last sampler is successful, then this will be true. If the last sampler is not successful, this will be false. Okay, so simply I'm putting that into this particular if loop, and if it's successful, it will go ahead and execute this one, and that's exactly what has happened. That's exactly what has happened. Okay, that has happened. Just to make sure that this will not log in, so I'll do something with the password. I'll mess around with the password. So now the login will not happen properly. Okay? Or maybe I'll mess around with the URL. Instead of messing around with the password, I'll mess around with the URL. Okay? Mess around with the URL so that the success will not be there. Okay? Now let me go ahead to see whether what will happen. Oh, it is still executing. Login is still happening. Okay? Login is still successful. That is the issue. Not sure why. Okay, login is still successful, or maybe I need to mess around here, I believe. Okay, maybe I'll mess around here. Okay, so it is not evaluating this one, guys. It is not actually evaluating this particular sampler. It is of no use. For the if controller, this is the last sampler. You see, this is the last sampler, and it is evaluating this sampler here. Okay, and as soon as I messed around with this one, login didn't happen properly, and obviously this will be false. So it is not execute. It is not supposed to execute it, and that's exactly what it has done. You see, login has failed. So since the login has failed, so this Jmeter thread.last sample okay will be false, and since it is false, so it has not executed whatever is there inside this. It has not executed whatever is there. Okay, so you can do something. Log.info is what you can do. Okay, log.info is what you can do. No, later on I'll play around with this. So see log.info. Okay, log.info, and you can look at this one, whatever the value of this one. Okay, so maybe it will work, I believe. I don't know. Okay, hang on, just give me a moment, guys. Let me see if this actually prints out something. Okay, so hang on, guys. Let me see if it has printed out something here. Okay, it didn't print out the log.info, neither it has given me any. Okay, so I'm just looking at the log, guys. I've did a log.info. I'm expecting that it will print out the values here. No, maybe I haven't used the syntax correctly. Later on, I will look into it. I just wanted to print out what's there in this Jmeter thread dot last sample. Obviously, it would have been false, and that's the reason why it is not executed. And that is quite evident over here. It is failed as well. So since it is failed, whatever is there in the output of this would have been false, and that's the reason why it is not executed. But I want you to see with your own eyes that the output of this is false. Okay, we have to do this. Okay, hang on, guys. I'm just bringing that into syntax. Okay, maybe I have to put let me see if this will work, or maybe I have to put a semicolon here, I believe. Okay, so okay, so maybe I'll put a semicolon here. Okay, and I'll put a semicolon over here. Okay, No, it is not printing out. Maybe this log.info will not work. Okay, maybe from the if controller. If I add a bean shell, it will work. Okay, so later on I'll look into it. I mean, I'll show you like how to print out a value into this log. Okay, you can print out the value of a particular variable in the log as well to see it's in the log as to what is that value, which I'll come back to it tomorrow, guys. So with this, we will wrap up today's class, guys. Okay, we'll wrap up today's class. I'll come back to you with the log.info. You wanted to see this value to be printed out in the output log, we can certainly do that, but I think we have to put that in the bin shell. Okay, so I don't want it to do that, try that in part of the class. We'll do it at the later point of time. With this, if controller is done, guys. Any questions, you can stay back. And when is the next class? If you are in US, it is on Friday night. If you are in India, it is on the Saturday morning, guys. So any questions? Any questions, guys? Any questions that I can help you out with? Guys, any questions? Okay, thank you all of you, and advance happy Christmas to everybody out there. Okay, who is celebrating or is not celebrating as well. Have a wonderful Christmas, guys. Okay, have a wonderful time with your friends and family. Have a blast. Okay, and come back to me with a lot of energy on Saturday if you are in Friday if you are in US, Saturday if you are in India. Okay, so yes, so if you are in India, it's a Saturday, guys. I don't know the date. If you are in US, it's a Friday. Okay, so that's what it is. So yes, if you are in India, okay, 28 when you want to come back. If you are in US, 27, I mean, I don't know the date. Okay, so Abdul, yeah, that's what is the date, 28. Yes. Okay, thank you folks. See you around. Take care. Bye-bye.